Hello everyone, welcome to this masterclass. My name is Simon Snowder and today we have a special guest speaker for you, Sonia Zaknoune, who I will introduce later further. So I want to first guide you through the masterclass, what you can expect, how it works, and the setup. So before we go into further details, I want to first explain you a little bit more about myself. My name is Simon Snowder. I work around 10 years now in the investment industry, financial industry, and I do master classes for quite some time now about different topics. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm based in Dubai. I'm married. I have 2 children, and there's quite a lot of content that I try to make for professionals or business owners like yourself, so that you can get more knowledge about different topics. So here you can see some of the master classes that I've done before, different topics, different industry experts that join me. We have an engaging Q&A session. So I want you to please take your time to ask questions. You can ask questions by typing it so that Sonia can answer this, who is the guest speaker and the expert on the topic today, how to sell your brand in the UAE. So it's important that if you want to get something out of this masterclass, that you also share your thoughts and your concerns or your questions with us. I also want to inform people that there will be a certificate sent to you to your registered email. So everybody here right now, please be aware that you will get an email afterwards from Cluely, which is our tech partner. And if you activate your account, then you can download a certificate that you attended this masterclass. And then it's up to you if you want to share it, but it will be sent to your email. So that is done complimentary. Now, I'm so excited to share with you Sonia Zaknoune. She is the founder of KAZAconsultancy. She's an expert on helping brands get better exposure and to enter into the UAE market and into the GCC market. So she has a lot of experience on this as a consultant and previously working for big brands, helping them. And Sonia is originally from France, so she has this transatlantic experience where she knows how different countries, different regions, how they do business and what is important when you do business in other countries. Sonia, are you there? Can you please join us?
Hello. Hi, Simon.
Hi,
hello,
Sonia.
Everyone. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you're here. You have so much experience and knowledge, and I'm so excited that you can share this with us. So the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Simon. So just a few words about myself. You already have started with few insights about me. So I came in the UAE, actually to the UAE in 2006. I used to say that, I came to Dubai in a time when we used to be here a little bit by chance. As you mentioned, I'm from France and I was supposed to stay 3 months. And then I had this amazing opportunity to join what became one of the fast growing local hotel brands, Ema Hospitality. And it has been a fantastic experience. At the time, Burj Khalifa was half built, Dubai Mall was not even open. And then I worked with different companies such as Nespresso, where I started to travel in the region and get involved and be involved in the most iconic project in UAE, of course, in Qatar, in Kuwait. And now I'm frequently traveling to Saudi Arabia. So now the world wants to be and decide to be here in this region. So I founded KAZAconsultancy and I help companies, businesses and manufacturers to enter the Middle East market and make the entry in one of the most exciting and vibrant regions a success. So there's different points that I want to discuss today, but I will try to to make it clear for everyone and to get the first insight. So how do you prepare your presence in the UAE? It's very important to understand and to know your market, to understand the Middle East market. So I would say really to start to understand what is your competition, what is your customer behaviors, what are the local standards. I see so many companies coming in the UAE, selling the brand, selling the product, being extremely passionate, but focusing a little bit too much on themselves without asking any questions. So I would say that, you know, this will help you to position your brand, identifying your audience, having the right prices, understand the sales channels for your product, for the industry that you are targeting. So, you know, I have this example of a manufacturer who wanted to sell premium water for the hospitality sector in the UAE. Fantastic, beautiful brands. And actually, they were having some challenges because the sizing, the bottling was not matching the local behaviors. So, for example, in Europe or most of the rest of the world, the small bottle of water in a hotel or in a restaurant is like 250 millimeter, and then the big size is 500 millimeters. So they produce and marketed the product with those sizes, to then realize, and is what I work with them on, is to realize that here, the small bottle was 500 millimeter, and then the large bottle was 750 to 1 liter. So details like this, which are quite important, allow you to not waste time or even like wasting money in producing something that is not suitable for the Middle East market. It's very important to understand the legislation and for your product category. Do you need to register? What are the processes? What are the costs? Again, we have nowadays a lot of product linked to health and beauty with vitamin supplements, gummies, etc. And we met a client who started to present the product in the market and advancing or having some advanced conversation with some distributors and retailers to realize 6 months later that he needs to register his product. And the registration process basically needs a good 1 year to 2 years. So coming to Dubai, back and forth for meetings, and then spending basically a lot of time, which is money, and have to wait now 1 year because the product hasn't been registered properly. So we have worked with them in making sure that the process can be a little bit accelerated, if I can say. The last points on how to prepare your presence in the UAE is identifying your audience. You have to know that in the UAE, you have more than 200 nationalities. Emiratis represent roughly 10% of the population. And the gap between, if I can say, the low income to exceptional income is quite large. So to position your brand, to position your product, and be able to find the best partners is very important to understand what would be your audience and what you are really targeting for this market. Is it for the mass? Is it for the niche? So we conduct with the client and for the client, market research and help them identify their strategy, especially on the positioning. So this would be the main part on how to prepare your presence here. I don't know if you do have some question on the first steps before you even come here.
Sonia, that was great. We actually do have a question already from Nada. I'm going to come to that question very soon, but I'm going to also inform people that if you have any questions for Sonia, please type it. Everybody is muted. This way I can ask Sonia the questions for you. I will ask any question you have. And also we have a poll that we would like to launch. And I'm going to first launch the poll, and I'm launching it right now. Please vote. The question is, are you established in the UAE? This is for us to get a better understanding who is live here right now, so that we can cater our information better towards you. So I'm seeing people voting right now. I'm going to share the response soon. Um, we are almost there with the result. 60% has already voted. I'm going to let it run a little bit longer until we have a couple of more votes in. Yeah, people are still voting. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to close it. More than 70% has voted. So I'm going to close it and share it. Can you see it, Sonia?
Yes, yes, yes. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm very pleased to see, and it's quite interesting to see that we have in the audience persons who are already based in the UAE and still interesting to learn more. So I could see maybe some challenges in growing the business, probably.
yes, exactly. So I'm going
So
to
yeah,
come now to the question of Nada. She has her first question is, I would like to know what are the tools that could help us understand the local behavior of consumption in the Middle East.
good question. Hi, Nada. Thank you for the question. But you know, at the end of the day, you need to do things in a very sometimes basic way. How do you know the local behavior? Is to study it. So of course, I'm living here now 16 years. It's going to be 17 years actually at the end of the year. So my own experience and the people I work with have the experience on the ground, and we grew with the consumers. So behaviors change all the time. It's something that's very important to understand, and especially in this part of the world where, you know, it's moving super quick, it's moving super fast, people come and go. So understand sometimes the customer behaviors today might be different than 3 years ago, or be different 2 years later. So we conduct, and it's important to conduct standard market research on again, it depends really much on the product, but for example, where do you buy your product if it's cosmetic? If you for example, consume any drinks, how do you consume it? Where do you buy it? Is it in supermarket? What is the price range? What is the age of the customer? It's so large that conducting very market research is very important. For me, I would be honest here, because I have already a very strong network in the industry. It's when I work on a project, I can very easily ask my partners working in a supermarket, a supplier, a distributor, and especially on the supermarket or hotels industry, what product and who is buying already, and what's working, what's not working. So I use my network a lot to get information quite quick. I don't know if I've answered the question, but yeah.
That's a great answer, Sonia. There's also a follow-up question from Nada. She's saying on the previous question, she's saying any course that you recommend in this regard that could help potentially to understand better the local consumption behavior in the Middle East.
This is something that I've been asked before, so it sounds very interesting to start to implement it. And I believe that KAZAconsultancy, we should start creating courses to be able to talk a little bit more to a large panel of entrepreneurs and businesses who wants to understand how to do their own market research, or how to be able to get the first information by themselves. What we provide quite easily is already data and information. So this is something we work with and can share. If the company, because we work also with organizations, we work with embassies, we work with trade commissions, with Chamber of Commerce, and themselves are contacted a lot by companies from their own countries. So we work with them in facilitating this understanding of the first steps. So I'm not sure how you can really get the courses, but it makes me realize that I need to start doing it myself very quick.
And I also have here a question from Shaheen. Sonia, the question is, could I know any tips to promote natural gemstones such as ruby, sapphire, emerald?
Okay, looks like a very specific question, huh? Do you want me to do the job already? Again, you know, for example, the main question I ask, or myself work on the strategy, is that who is the buyer? So who can be the buyers? Because you can have different type of buyers. You can have someone who buy directly from you. You can have, let's say, a jeweler who will buy these stones from you to create the jewelry. So in that case, it can be jewelry designers who are always looking for buying stones for their own collection. So then you just focus, let's say, on the different jewelers existing and based, let's say, in UAE, and you promote your product or try to sell your product to them directly, if it makes sense, because obviously they are the one who needs stones. This can be one channel, one sales channel.
Yes, there's a follow-up question on this from Shaheen. Any specific places you recommend?
Look, we have here very strong jewelers and well-established jewelers based in Gold and Diamond Park, for example. You can spend a day there. There's plenty of jewelers. You have the Gold and Diamond Souk, but you have also the Old Souk and Gold Souk in Dera, where you have also plenty of jewelers. And I would assume that you have companies or person who can liaise between you and the jewelry companies who are specialized and have already the network in introducing your brand, your product to them directly. So you can go direct or find a company. I don't know where are you based? Are you already in UAE or you are based outside? If the person can answer this question.
Yeah, so Shaheen is based in, are you based in the UAE or outside? Because that will help Sonia to understand better. There's already another follow-up question from
okay.
in Sharjah.
Because if she's based, it's okay. If she's in UAE, she can start targeting the jewelry companies herself. Yeah. Or if she's based outside of UAE, she will need probably or for sure someone based here who can go and sell her product locally to the different jewelers.
Yeah, so Shaheen is saying that she's based in Sharjah, already have a shop in Sharjah, Gold Souk, okay. And also considering selling online as well, if that is successful or not. So basically what I think is that they're looking for expansion.
Yes, yes.
Inside of the UAE or outside of the UAE as well, because a lot of people also yes. should know that Sonia has a lot of knowledge as well about other GCC countries such as Saudi market, etc.
Look, Shaheen, I think I would be happy to have a chat with you and see how we can help you and push it a bit to create more awareness, identifying more customers for you and grow a little bit the sales channels for you, because it looks like you need to maybe grow the different sales channels.
Yeah,
either online okay. or to go direct. Yes.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, Shaheen, I will share later also the contact details from Sonia. You can continue to discuss with her specifically about your opportunity.
If she's already based here, is fantastic actually. If Shane is already based in UAE, we can help her even faster.
Yeah. So I'm giving you back the floor to start with your second point. Yes. Because we will, anybody that has questions, I will answer the questions after Sonia finishes her second point.
Perfect. So we have talked about how to prepare your presence in the UAE. And now I would like to discuss something that is very close to my heart, because it's what are the most common mistakes that businesses do when they want to enter the Middle East market and the UAE. I believe that there is a a lot of misconceptions about this market. So I will just mention 3 or 4 points that will help you to avoid this mistake as much as you can. So one mistake or one thing to avoid is to launch your brand in the UAE or in the Middle East. If you just created your brand, just finalize your product, it's important and it will help you more to already launch it outside of the UAE or in your own country, in your own region, to get some visibility, to start getting some local partners to do some sales, and then be able to come to the UAE. You don't have to wait too long. It can be 6 months later to 1 year later, but usually in UAE and in the region, the mentality is a little bit more follower than leaders. So when you would start introducing your product and your brand to local partners, a lot of questions are going to be asked about where do you already sell, what are your current sales channel, what is the marketing that has been done. So it's important to not to wait or at least to launch the product in your own country and then come to the UAE. Okay. The second mistake, it sounds standard, but I would like to emphasize in this point, do not do the business the same way that you do in your own country. Again, here, the culture is different. The fact that you are discussing with so many different origin and cultures, it can be quite confusing. In the UAE, there's a lot of holding companies. The corporation are quite big. Everything is part of a holding company or a group. So many departments, lots of people involved, and you tend to come here starting talking to different persons without trying to understand what is the internal processes of the company itself. I would like to give this example with quite interesting. It's a company who is producing furniture that I met almost 2 years now. And the objective was to sell the product to Starbucks. Franchisee, amazing strategy, opening many stores in the region, very big growth plan. But the person was going to different Starbucks, talking to the team there, and we met because he realized that he was going a little bit nowhere. And I said, do you know Al Shaya Group? He's like, no. And Al Shaya is basically the franchisee, one of the largest franchisee company in the Middle East. So he's a franchisee of Starbucks. So it's very important to understand what Starbucks is doing and what are the look and feel of the furniture, etc. But basically the group that will take the decision is the franchisee. So if you don't know and start talking to the person in Al Shaya in terms of operation, in the procurement department, in the development, basically you will never close anything. So understanding the holding companies and the groups is very important for you to understand their own processes to again be able to talk to the right person and move in the process. So again, we help our clients, to position themselves, to make sure that they are talking to the right organization, to the right department, to the right person. The next point, make me smile, but it's happened way too often, is to make the mistake or to think that you can increase your price because it's the Middle East. So this is the biggest misconception, all of them, is to believe that everyone is Dubai's rich. Don't believe everything that you see on TV. Don't believe everything you see on social media. I basically had the case of a woman care brand where she told me that they were increasing their price of 35% because it's the Middle East and everybody's rich here. Believe me, we have a lot of expenses. People have a lot of expenses. We might, in certain level, people might think that yes, we don't pay tax. However, there is people have to pay the medical, the rent, the school fees. Nothing is free. So price positioning is extremely important. It's very naive to think that you can increase your price, or very naive to think that you can just sell expensive things and everybody's going to buy it. So the price positioning is extremely important. It going back to what I said earlier about your market research and customer behaviors. The last point is not much of a mistake, but it's a little tip I would like to give. Mostly retailers in the UAE, because it's different in the other countries in the Gulf, but in the UAE, retailers very rarely will buy directly from manufacturers. So even big groups like Carrefour will buy through distributors. So it's important to be contacting the retailers, to present your product, to get the feedback. Like this, we can adjust if something needs to be adjusted in the product, packaging, and everything. However, do not waste too much time in this and start contacting distributors. Because if everybody wants to buy your product but you do not have a distributor, you're not going to be able to sell it. So we basically introduce our clients, also our partners locally based, the distributors for food, non-food, for projects. And it's very important, it helps to have also a local presence, to have a sales representative, and something we also do to work with a client in a couple of months to make sure that we liaise on the ground between the business owner, the manufacturer, and the retailers. Because what you don't want also is to finalize with the distributor having your product in the market, but have basically nobody buying it. So these were my the point I wanted to discuss on the mistake to avoid when you want to do business in the UAE.
These are great points, Sonia, and I already got some questions for you from people, so you're definitely on the right track. I first want to launch another poll, which I launched right now, and then I will answer questions from people. So the poll is: are you thinking of expanding towards the UAE or inside of the UAE if you're already present, or GCC countries? So basically, do you want to grow your business inside of the UAE and GCC? Please vote, because that will help again Sonia to understand better where you are at, and to put her advice and tips in better context.
Maybe we can explain what GCC means.
Yes, I will also show. Do you want me to show the map?
Yes, it will be much easier for sure. Please, yes.
Yeah, yes, I'm going to show the map. So I'm going to close the poll now and share to people the answer. So we got 92% wants to expand. What do you think about that, Sonia?
It makes sense. I am sure that everybody who joined the webinar today is the main focus to expand in the region. So totally makes sense.
Yeah, so I am sharing now. Can you see the map that I'm sharing?
Yes.
So so first I'm sharing this because the Dubai and Abu Dhabi are are the big cities in the UAE. Can you explain a little bit more about that, Sonia, about the presence?
I want to say that Dubai is not a country. Huh? Dubai is a city, because this also, even until today, I hear it all the time. So the country is the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Abu Dhabi is the capital. And Dubai is one of the 7 states in the UAE. And more people start becoming more familiar with the region itself, what we call the Gulf region. And we have different countries exactly around. So from Qatar, Kuwait, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Oman and Bahrain. So this is basically the Gulf region and what we call here the GCC. So as much as today we are focusing and talking a bit more on the UAE, and it's very important to be in Dubai, to be in the UAE to start, as it's a platform to this region. So it helps you after that to expand more easily in the neighbor countries. And I would like to say that it's changing a lot. So please, I'm going a lot in Saudi Arabia nowadays. Don't take my words stuck on the, how we call it, written on a stone. But as of today, many distributors, if you first work with a distributor, might be distributing in the UAE and, for example, in Qatar, or in the UAE and in Kuwait. So it's quite interesting to have to be based here and have a company based here, but can also help you or can be your partner for the region. We'll talk about it in another webinar, but Saudi, for example, is there's huge potential, but it's pushing more and more companies to be based there. So it's another strategy to make, but it's another webinar altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to give that a follow-up one. And I have here already some questions for you, a different type of questions. So the first one is from Victoria. She's saying, I am in the UAE. I live here since 2005, and I am a professional retailer with experience of 16 years. Recently, I joined real estate, and I want to adapt faster. How can I get more customers with such a big competition around? So maybe we can take that question also bigger. How can you compete in Dubai or UAE where there's already a lot of competition?
Yes, there is definitely a lot of competition here because the world has eyes on the Middle East. So even in Europe or in America, you compete only maybe with companies who are based in of course, in your country and in the region. Here, every day we have companies who want to enter this market from South America to Asia to Europe. So it multiplies the competition level. I really believe in one thing: knowledge is your power. You can have all the competition you want. If you, as a company, as a brand, as a professional and an expert in whatever you sell and produce, know the local market, it will help you so much to find the right partners, to promote your product to the right audience, and then make a difference with the competition. And I see every day upcoming brands who've been super successful because they took the time to do things, if I can say properly, like what is going on in the market. You know, I always say sometimes, like, and I think even in real estate is definitely another industry and another approach. But for example, like, what is the market, what people are interested in, depending on their age, depending on their background, depending on the country they come from, because I'm sure you can have clients coming from literally everywhere in the world. But let's say if it's a French person, if it's someone coming from India, from Russia, etc., what are the common criteria that those persons are looking for? And you will notice there is a lot of common points. So this will help you to be able to present to these persons maybe an apartment or a property a little bit more suitable for their needs, because you will already know what they're looking for. So taking the time, I would say, to really understand your audience and understand what the market and the customers are looking for in general, and then you narrow it.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Sonia. And I have here another question from Nada. She's asking, in Saudi Arabia specifically, the orientation is heading now to the local product instead of depending on the exported ones. How can we maintain our presence in that case?
Yeah, definitely. The country is definitely pushing in getting, I mean, it's such a huge country. It's such a huge country, you cannot just depend on importation. So this makes a lot of sense. However, and I'm saying this like this, I was just in Saudi Arabia last week, and there's a long way to go. So I would say that for companies who really want to enter the Saudi market, is definitely now. The processes are quite long. You need to be patient, but there's a lot of demand. The country, the the people are so looking forward to get this new product in their country that there's a lot of opportunity. So again, position your product, make sure that you have the right packaging, the right approach, the right marketing, because marketing is very important. Unfortunately, you cannot wait anybody to do this job for you, neither the retailer or even the distributor. Be strong with your marketing deck. Saudi Arabia is very very social media oriented, probably due to the fact that the population is like, if I'm not making any mistake, 75% might be below 25 years old or 30 years old. So it goes with it. But this population is very, very eager to get new products. So though the country and the government is pushing to buy locally, I would say that they're pushing for manufacturers to have facilities in their country. I would say in this way. So if you're in pharmaceutical, if you want to sell your product, but if you are already, if you basically have your production facilities in Saudi Arabia, you will have better chance to sell your product, especially with government. This is more specific to government organization though. Government entities tend to buy locally, or are pushed to buy with company based locally, that's for sure. But there's still opportunities for people, for companies from outside.
Yeah, so yes, these are also again a great insight just sharing. I have here another question from Fahad. He's asking, do you provide trainings for real estate selling as well? And in general, maybe for people out there, do you provide trainings or courses?
I provide training. Real estate, funny enough, is not something that I was really doing. It was more on the services and products. But I can see that real estate is a very important sector. I mean, it is a very important sector in the UAE because it's growing so fast. But it's something that I should probably, or I will look at, looking at the question and the inquiry. But again, it's something that always go back to same points and the same basics. Even in real estate, again, I will give my own example, not as an advisor, but as a customer, because I'm a customer also. In real estate, in the Middle East or in UAE, you receive these random calls, and with people trying to sell you something without asking you any question. Ask question. And I even would like to say, for people or companies who are selling a product, I dare you to go in meeting without samples. Go there and ask questions. And at the end of the meeting, you just give some samples coming out from your bag. So I believe in real estate is the same. Ask questions, and then you will be able to literally present probably 2 or 3 properties, and the person is going to buy. And I think we tend to, and in real estate is, I think, the main mistake. We tend to want to show everything we have in our portfolio, and hoping that maybe one of them will be suitable for the client. But ask a lot of questions. Spend the time to understand the personality. What is important for this person? I would like to say it's all about emotions also. Get emotion out of the persons, and then you can just present something that is 100% suitable.
Yeah, that's totally true. These are the questions for what you shared earlier. So I'm sure there will be more questions later again when you go to the next chapter. I'm finished there.
Okay, so I continue.
Yeah,
very good. So we have talked about how to prepare your present in the UAE. We have talked about trying to avoid the main mistakes that businesses do. But I want to finish with a positive note and basically discuss the keys to success. So there's again many things we could talk about, but I will focus on a few points. It's something I have talked about already since we have started the webinar, but the key to success for me is to really to understand the local culture and behavior. And I want us to be careful here. The example of local attitude versus the rest of the world, if I can say. Locally, or not locally, local people, or even people who are based here, tend to always tell you how amazing you are, very, very friendly, to tell you how amazing your product is. You will have 1 or 2 meetings, leaving the UAE, taking your plane back to your country, thinking you're going to be millionaire at the end of the year. And then you come home, and then you have challenges to get answer from the person you have met, you know, on the follow-ups and everything. So there's something we love about the Middle East culture is definitely the hospitality culture. So this, we love it. On a business perspective, it's very important to identify this and not get, if I can say, overwhelmed by this this general positive attitude. I used to say that the rest of the world will sometimes complain more easily, but then the customer will come back. When here, we don't complain much, people don't complain much, but then they don't come back. So we really help, because we're again based here, we really help businesses on the ground to be able to commit to bring this constant and or a little bit more constant communications, help on the follow-up, and especially when you have and you want to extend your sales team. I used to say sometimes we're the extension of your sales team. Actually, we are based here and we can support you on this. So, and I would like to say that even like if you participate in some exhibitions, we have here Dubai World Trade Center, and we have through the years amazing and very vibrant exhibitions in different for different sector. So you will have a booth on the exhibition, and again you will have so many people coming to you and telling you again how amazing you are, and then after that sometimes you can be a little bit disappointed by the outcome. So really understand this culture behavior will help you to avoid disappointment. Key to success, again going back to the same points, but please do know your take the time to know your market, this market, know your audience. Knowledge is power. So when you go to a buyer and you have all this knowledge in hands, it will help you so much more to position your brand. We're talking earlier about competition and how to be strong with all this strong competition we have here. But if you go to a buyer selling your product, but knowing already what this buyer is buying or purchasing, where the product is coming from, what are the specifications, what are the prices, it helps you go into this meeting basically with all the information. You basically have the answer before the customer or the client is asking you questions. So I had a case with actual fashion in the fashion industry with a gentleman who wanted to work with us to enter this market. Very high-end product, very luxury, and came to Dubai with a lot of ideas and everything, but never took the time to go to the malls to see what was happening there, to go to some luxury clothes shops that you can have. If people know Dubai, I can see a lot of right here, on Jumeirah Road or like high-end locations. So again, you want to sell expensive, but what makes you believe that your product can be sold expensive? And again, who are you going to sell it to? So knowledge is power. Take the time to understand your market. Take the time to be curious. Be curious. Go there. Check everything around and ask questions. So for us to work together at the beginning on identifying the positioning, the target client, the set channels, and the buyers are very important. I was talking about this earlier, but the question that's going to be asked to you almost all the time is, what is your marketing strategy? Sorry. What is your marketing strategy? as a distributor, I would say, okay, I take your product. I like it. I believe there's a potential. What are you going to do to market your product? How are you going to do to make sure that the customers out there knows that your product exists? And this is where, again, there's a misconception that the buyer or the distributor will do all the job for you. So one of the very important key, be ready with your marketing deck to give full support to your local partners. They will expect from you the support. So, so we work a lot with our clients on revamping the presentation, revamping, changing the message, the images. Things can be quite controversial. So I work on a product in women care where we see bodies in the packaging, women bodies. So we work more on like shapes and drawing. You don't want to offend anybody. So to be very sensitive with the local culture. And I would say one of the keys to be patient. Everything is possible in this part of the world, and you can be extremely successful if you follow basically what we have discussed today and be patient.
Yeah, I'm going to ask people if they have any questions about what Sonia just shared with you. But before I do that, I'm going to launch the last poll because I like polls. What is the reason you joined this masterclass? So there's a couple of options where you can choose from. If you feel that your option is not there, then obviously you can say other reason. But if you say other reason, then please type in the chat what your other reason is, so that we get a better understanding what you're looking for in general. And I see people voting and selecting, so that's very good. I'm just gonna keep it a little bit longer until like 5 more seconds until the people that wanted to vote voted. Yeah, okay. I'm closing this now. I'm sharing it now. Do you see the results, Sonia?
Yes. Okay. Need to improve existing operations. Great. Need a better strategy. Need more sales. It's a good reason. And I want to expand in the UAE and GCC. There's still a big number of other reasons if people mention what it is, but like need to improve existing operations. I'm very pleased. I'm not pleased to see that, of course not. But it's when you launch a brand, when you launch your brands in a new market, it's a constant learning process. You really learn on the way, especially at the beginning, and you make mistakes and you learn things. You learn from the buyers, you learn from your own team actually, and you need sometimes to change the message, and you need to change maybe some things related to your production. You need to amend a few things in your products. You realize on the way that certain criteria or certain specification are not, you know, aligned or with the market or the responses. So yeah, to improve the operations, yeah, it's I understand, especially for new business. Yes, if you're a new business, I understand. That's why, again, to prepare your entry and try to avoid as much as possible those challenges that you can have when you're already launched are important, because it always costs more money to change things afterwards. So the first validations on your strategy, make sure you have a proper strategy, and this was also one of the points. Do not assume many things. Make sure that the information you have been received from a professional of the industry, because you will learn a lot from them. You know, I work with a company who was producing safety gloves, and they have so many type of gloves and etc. And the manufacturer is outside of the UAE. Yes,
Yeah, I just want to quickly say something before Dietmar leaves. Dietmar wrote a very nice comment. He's saying that he is saying that you gave a great presentation and insights. He's really impressed, and he's saying that it's a coincidence that you worked for Nespresso as well. And he's saying let's stay in touch. He used to be the CEO of Central Europe for Nespresso, the
Oh,
same
cool.
company you worked with as well, and he has to leave now. So he's thanking us for this
Thank
masterclass,
you.
and that he really thinks it was insightful. Sorry for interrupting you, but I
No,
just
no, no,
wanted to
no,
share
please.
this
Yes,
with
yes,
you.
I would love to connect afterwards for sure. And by the way, for the story, even I would say even Nespresso is a big company, right? It's a big corporation, and it was very interesting when I was working for the company and I was in charge of the hospitality sector to grow in the region. It was still a lot of misconception, and sometimes from the buyers, thinking like I was going around with coffee capsule in my bag. So I'm like, every organization has its own structure. You need time for the production, the logistic. So I said we don't have a huge warehouse in Dubai with hundreds and thousands of coffee machine and capsule. All this needs also preparation and operation, and logistics. So the misconception can be on both sides, actually, from the buyers and from the sellers.
Yes, that's absolutely. And I'm just sharing here my screen where you have Sonia's contact details. Of course, you can find her on LinkedIn as well, or you can see some more information on her website, or you can reach out to her by email. And her phone number is there as well. And I'm just want to rephrase again. If you have any questions, this is your moment to ask. There's no bad question. Everybody wants to improve their brand. Let's be honest. Even the best brands out there, Apple, Microsoft, or McDonald's, they all want to improve their brand. So if you have any questions,
if you allow me, I would like to add that the big brands, what we call big brands, are looking at these upcoming brands, because there's nothing worse than a well-established brand who's taking the market over because the company came with something that's a bit more innovative than them. And this, I see it every day also. So you can also scare off the bigger companies, the one that you believe are your main competitor because they are so well established. So they're looking at you also.
Oh yeah, that's a great thing you said that, Sonia. One company in our group is we know that the big ones out there want to buy us later, and we want them to buy us because the group, the way that they have built it is that they're actually better, and they want them to feel the pain when they lose the business and then they get bought, because their smaller ones are more innovative, more flexible, can stretch more, but the bigger ones can absorb that then. So it's totally right what you're saying. I've seen this happening all the time. I had a client of mine working at Visa, and her job was just to buy tech companies that were smaller and talk with them and say, hi, can I offer you a lot of money for your company? That was her job. Yeah. So you're totally correct about this. Dietmar is saying he had to leave now, so he's left. So I want to thank him for his participation and for everybody else participation. There's still some questions left, maybe. I also want to ask you, Sonia, is there anything that you think that I have not asked you, or the people here that are here have not asked you, which you think that would be important for people to know, or a question that you thought that they would ask you, or would have been valuable to ask to you?
I guess there's plenty of questions, to be very fair. But something I would like to say to go with your question, if I can say, do not, in general, in businesses as an entrepreneur, either you established, you already, or you're totally new, or you already have a couple of years, I would say ask questions. Ask questions all the time. You know, I keep learning every day. You ask question, and again, there's a lot of opportunities. But yeah, be curious and maybe go where nobody is, you know, to start with. Sometimes if I say to my clients, if you want to sell your product and it's very new, very innovative, but you need time to promote it to the market, and not only because it's about promoting your brand to the customers, because they are the one that you need to convince at the end of the day, the one who buy the product. Sometimes to get some concept stores, to get the product in specialized stores, can be a nice way to start, and then grow your network. And also in the UAE, something is super fun, which I find super great compared to the rest of the world, is much easier. This is my opinion, but much easier to do collaboration with sports event, collaboration with organization. I know you target the mommies, you can organize it with mom, with sports people, with whatever, and you can really create a lot of awareness about your brands through these channels also. So not only online or basically stores, but really try to create awareness about your brand and product through different organizations like this and events. It's much easier to do.
Yeah, that's totally right. You're totally right about that. And for everybody that was here live, I just want to summarize. Look, you can see Sonia has a lot of knowledge about this market, about the GCC market, about the UAE, how to do business, how to bring your brand to the UAE or expand it if you're already established here. It costs more money to make mistakes because you don't take good advice, or you're stubborn, or you think your gut feeling says XYZ. Trust me, I've paid a lot of money to professional experts to guide me into the right direction, and it has helped me tremendously, and it can help your business as well tremendously. So I want to also make sure that people are aware that if you want to have this discussion further, you can reach out to Sonia. She's a great expert, and she can definitely help you. Sonia, thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge and your experience.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And please, for the audience, don't hesitate to, you have my email there. I would be happy to revert to you for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining, Sonia. Thank you, everybody, for joining and being so active. I really appreciate it. Sonia appreciates it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.